Hello, Tobago. Again, we are still in the lovely island of Tobago. This time we are in Bonaccord and we are at the Canaan Bonaccord Fitness Center where we are going to be talking to Mr. Kelton Thomas, a bodybuilder from Tobago, a man who has been doing going leaps and bounds in this sport, and much is not known of him. Just recently back from a major tournament, and he is in preparation for other major tournaments. We are going to be talking to him live and direct while he is at his training. So,
good to meet you, man.
Right. A bodybuilder, a lightweight bodybuilder, international, and have your eyes set on turning pro. Tell us a bit about your career. How did it start out for you?
Basically, it started off here a long time ago. First ever competition was way back in 1989. You know, it's just sort of new to the sport because everybody else in the village was lifting weights, my brother and them, and most of the senior guys. Our role model at the time was a guy called Anthony Roberts, who used to represent Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago by extension. He was a heavyweight.
Yeah.
He had a few pieces of equipment in his house. So we all used to go underneath his house and train. That's where it all started, really. I did a competition that they had in 1989 in the lightweight in Tobago. I won it. That was on the prompting of Mr. Roberts, and then surprisingly to me, I won the overall as well. Unfortunately, well, I say fortunately, unfortunately, I had to go to England to study, so I dropped out of the sport for a long. But I started back again when I came back to Tobago in 2003, 2004 thereabouts. Started training and competing again. And I made it onto the national team to start competing with Trinidad and Tobago, and I've been there ever since as a lightweight competitor. Well, I was a bantamweight competitor, really, which is up to 143 pounds. So I won gold for CSC, for Trinidad and Tobago at the CSC in 2010, I think it was. And that was actually the first gold medal in male bodybuilding at Trinidad and Tobago, but in about 12 years.
Okay.
Last person to win gold in male bodybuilding for Trinidad and Tobago was Lawrence Marshall.
Yeah, the Beast.
The Beast, yeah. That was 12 years before that. Since after that, we have not gotten another gold medal in male bodybuilding. So I decided that I wanted to change that and to try and be consistent in this sport. I got invited to attend the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic in Ohio.
That's the one you finished in the top 10?
Yeah, my first crack at it was back in 2012. So I went to Ohio, competed, but I went there as a bantamweight, and they only have from the lightweights up. So I was a little bit at a disadvantage because I went in there at 144 pounds, and guys they were 154, 155, they were 10-pound advantage.
Yeah.
I still managed to place 7th. And I've been doing the competition ever since, and I've remained in the top 10, even though you have sort of 20-odd guys into one class, and then they only take the top 10. So I've remained in the top 10 since then. But more recently, I went to Spain, to the Arnold. Arnold started doing his competitions in Europe, and I think next year he's going to be doing it in Australia. But the European competition is a lot tougher than the American one. The guys come from far and wide from Asia and far Eastern Europe and so on. And of course, you know, I ended up with 15 of the toughest guys in the lightweight division to deal with. And so actually, even though I finished in place 8, I actually felt as if I had, you know, I was in the top 3 because the top 3 guys were from Spain, and from number 4 to number 8 all had identical scores in all the rounds, so we tied basically. But your position is usually given based on how many first place votes you got.
Okay.
So eventually when they see, you know, one person got 4 first place votes and so on, then you're given your position. So I ended up 8, which is still quite good. What it means is that I've qualified to do the World Championships in Brazil which is in about 3 or 4 weeks' time.
So that is what you're preparing.
So this is what I'm preparing for now, yeah.
No, I know you took part in the British Grand Prix.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. I think you came second?
Yeah, I got a silver medal at the British Grand Prix back in April, I think it was, of this year. Yeah. April or May. That was another tough competition because I entered the 80 kilogram and below class. And of course, going in there at 70 kilos, you're always at a disadvantage. But then if you go in condition enough, you know, and you get a pretty decent shape and so on, you could fight with some of the big guys. And I think coming from Trinidad and Tobago, I'm always competing in the Masters division. It's prepared me a bit for competing against bigger guys because I always go against bigger guys. You know, I've joined the nickname Giant Killer because I think after 2011, I won the Sports World Classic, beating the heavyweight and stuff in Trinidad for the overall. So since after that, the guys started calling me Giant Killer. So yeah, it's kind of prepared me to go up against bigger guys. So I'm not intimidated anymore by guys who are 50 and 60 pounds bigger than I am. So I think I bring a pretty decent package to the table. So if the judges, you know, see it and like it, then you know, somebody can get through.
Anything you have intention of turning professional?
Yeah, it's my intention to turn pro. If you pardon me while I do another set. Yeah. I would like to turn pro to compete in the 212 division. There's the pro division is open now. You could do pro as an open, which means you go over 212 pounds, but you could also compete. The smaller guys like me can compete in the 212 class. So that's what I'm hoping to do. I got some very good friends who compete in the 212 class as pros. I know lightweights who have turned pro and have gradually take their weight up and their muscle size and stuff up to compete there. So that's what I'm hoping to do over the next year or two.
I know I have to talk to you while you do your training.
That's fine.
Bodybuilding as a sport, how expensive or what sort of diet and training you have to incorporate to maintain this body at all times?
It's expensive and it's not expensive. It's expensive in the sense that the products that we use and the lifestyle that we live can deem to be expensive. But bodybuilding is a way of life for me. So when I say everybody will go to the shop and buy a bag of white rice, I will buy brown rice. When you'll buy a dozen eggs to last you a week, I'll buy a dozen eggs to last me a couple of days. So it becomes expensive in that sense. And I mean, I eat every 2 hours. So I will end up having 6 to 8 meals a day. But it's small meals and it's clean meals. But it saves me going to the doctor. I haven't been to a doctor in ages except just to have a medical for traveling purposes and so on. Or sometimes I donate blood as well. So do blood work just because I have to make sure and keep myself healthy and clean. I mean, and I was born asthmatic, so I've not had an asthma attack in ages. So training, there's a lot of benefits to it, and it's healthy and it's not expensive from that point of view. But in terms of the actual training, most of the expense will come in from your traveling, hotel accommodations, because you got to travel. I got to travel international for shows and stuff all the time now. So in that sense, it's quite expensive. In terms of the supplements, a lot of the foods we use now do not have enough nutrients to supply our bodies, so we have to supplement our diets by buying some of these high protein shakes and so on. But I still try and stick to the basics, you know. I like my high glycemic or my low glycemic carbohydrates will come from my cassavas, my brown rice, my sweet potatoes, you know. So I have to stock up on all my provisions and stuff. I grew up in Tobago. I like my ground provision. I like my yam and my dasheen, my sweet potatoes, my cassava. So that's what I choose for my as my staple diet. And of course, my high protein comes from my fish. I'll have a 8-ounce sirloin steak on a daily basis. And of course my chicken breast, which those are the expensive foods. Because when you have to eat 2 or 3 of that every single day, it adds up. One steak is about $30. So when you have to have 6 or 7 of that a week, it all adds up. So that in that aspect, it's quite expensive. And of course, I mean, the protein shakes and stuff is $600 for a big bottle, which would last you. You've got to take 2 shakes a day. It only lasts you about 15 days.
Do you have like a sponsor who sponsors you, or you have to fend for yourself?
Well, when it comes to my diet and supplements, and so I have to fend for myself,
Yeah,
you know. I'm fully aware of that, because it's can't really depend on people to give you stuff. I was never kind of fella to go ask people for money and stuff. The House of Assembly, however, bails me out a bit recently when I started doing international shows. They would pay for my flight and my hotel accommodation. And more recently, well, to go to the World Championships, I've sent in a budget asking them to, you know, sponsor my meals because I'm traveling in the countries, because I've realized I've come up a bit short change recently when I started traveling, because I usually put in a budget just for airline ticket and hotel accommodation. And we can't eat the things that the hotel are providing, so we have to go out and get our own meals to prepare, because, you know, one bad meal can throw off your whole preparation that you've done for months. You know, so.
Okay, my final question to you is, are you a self-taught bodybuilder, or do you have a coach?
I have several people I listen to for advice. But in terms of traveling, sometimes a coach will travel with me, which is an official, well, a delegate, an official. Kerwin Gregg, which is a representative of the Tobago Bodybuilders Federation, or the president of the Tobago Bodybuilders Federation will travel with me as well sometimes. I have one of the guys in my training partner, I used to train with from a long time, Keith Samuel. He travels with me as well. He traveled with me to Wales for the British Grand Prix. So, and that's very, very helpful, especially when someone has got to sort out your travel plans and help you through, you know, with all the traveling and the rigors of getting through airports and making sure you get your luggage, making sure you get your meals on time and all that. It's could be a bit nerve-wracking sometimes, but yeah.
So, Mr. Thomas, I know that you have to be with your training.
Man.
All the best on the tournament that you're going to. I'm sure I'm going to meet Tobago again, and I'm going to chat with you.
Yeah, man, no problem.
All the best, and keep the flag of Tobago flying.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
There you heard it from Kelton Thomas, the Tobago bodybuilder, a man who has aim and aspiration to turn into a pro bodybuilder, and he has already set a high standard. So we want to thank him for spending this time. Remember, we are in Bonaccord, Tobago, and we are at the Kelton Bonaccord Fitness Center. This is Act 25 on location in Tobago. Stay tuned. We're going to be in another community right now.